Time for today's focus. The more than 2-year conflict in Yemen is often dubbed the Forgotten War. The fighting between Houthi rebels and forces loyal to the country's exiled president has left at least 10,000 people dead and displaced more than 3 million others. A Saudi-led coalition has been striking rebel-held areas, and despite support from the US, the UK and France, the Saudis have been accused of bombing civilian areas. While reporters have very limited access on the ground, but thanks to the NGO Doctors Without Borders, France 24 has exclusive footage of the country being torn apart by war.
We are in the Houthi stronghold in northern Yemen. This is what is left of Sada after 2 years of intensive bombing. Here, a powerful airstrike turned what used to be a market into this crater. This man lost everything when an airstrike hit his family home in March, killing his mother, his sister and his 2 younger brothers.
These are part of the missiles that destroyed our house, and there are probably more remains in the rubble. But there were no military targets or centers in our neighborhood.
The Saudi coalition declared the whole city of Sada a war zone in violation of international law. The Saudis accused the civilians who remain in the city of supporting rebels, a way to justify the killing of women and children.
No house was spared. This house was hit. The one next to it too. We found Hassan's body in that house. The blast sent him all the way there. He was shredded to pieces. He had no hands, no legs left.
According to the United Nations, more than 10,000 people have died in the conflict, half of them civilians. Residents have documented the brutal air campaign using their smartphones. For the past 2 years, NGOs have repeatedly accused the coalition of war crimes. Topping the list is the regular targeting of health centers. MSF is one of the few organizations still working in Yemen. Today, the head of the Yemen mission is checking in on this hospital in Al-Kafla. It is one of the 4 health centers supported by the NGO that has been targeted by airstrikes. The attacks have worsened the humanitarian crisis.
Half the hospitals are closed, either because they've been destroyed or because staff are too scared of the war and the threat of airstrikes here.
The few hospitals still working are stretched beyond capacity. Here, they're treating people with war wounds. 2 years of food shortage have added to the suffering of the population. 3 million Yemenis are believed to be on the brink of famine. 2 million of them are children.
Did he have diarrhea today?
Yes, 3 times. And he vomited several times.
MSF supports this pediatric center.
5.6 kilos.
Nurses measure and weigh the children to monitor their growth. This little boy is underweight.
He should weigh 5 kilos, but he's 3 levels below the average. He's about the size of a girl his age. At this level, it's a case of malnutrition, and we have to keep the child in for treatment. We give him additional doses of milk, 75 or 100 grams extra, depending on the case.
Today, NGOs are able to reach only 10% of the population, limiting treatment to people living in major cities or those who can afford to travel to hospitals.
We have nothing left. There's no work. We have nothing to do but to stay at home.
They recently stopped paying all employees and suspended all public transport services, so a lot of people can no longer reach us. We used to have more patients coming to our emergency room, but today they can no longer access these services because of the situation.
The medical staff here now face a new crisis. A cholera outbreak which has already affected 2,000 people and killed another 35 this month alone. With peace talks having stalled last August, there is little hope of the situation improving as Yemen's war and humanitarian crisis deepen by the day.
Well, remember, you can watch all of France 24's focus reports on our website, france24.com.